In this podcast episode, Mel Robbins interviews James Clear, a leading expert on habit formation and behavior change, author of the best-selling book Atomic Habits. The conversation explores powerful insights on how small daily habits shape long-term success, the science behind building and breaking habits, and practical strategies to make lasting change. Listeners learn about the relationship between identity and behavior, why motivation follows action and not the other way around, and how to design systems that consistently lead to better results. James Clear begins by explaining that taking action is the most effective way to relieve anxiety. Instead of ruminating on worries, starting with even a small step influences the outcome and reduces fear. This principle encourages people to move forward despite uncertainty, emphasizing that progress, no matter how minor, is better than inaction. Clear discusses resilience, highlighting that the ability to bounce back after failure is critical. Life has unavoidable hardships, but recognizing that difficult seasons are temporary helps develop a healthier mindset. Rather than expecting perfection, giving yourself permission for habits to evolve according to your current life season enables continual growth without unnecessary self-judgment. Procrastination is framed as a choice to put off a more desirable outcome. Clear states that most life results lag behind the habits that produce them, so delaying action pushes progress and fulfillment further into the future. Focusing on daily inputs, rather than fixating solely on goals, ensures movement toward a different and better destination. Clear defines habits not just as automatic routines like brushing teeth, but as consistent behaviors or routines chosen to pursue specific outcomes. Habits form the foundation of systems, collections of daily behaviors aligned toward a shared purpose. The problem with failed change attempts is often not a lack of willpower, but a flawed system. Improving systems rather than blaming oneself makes change more attainable. One of Clear's signature concepts is that small improvements compound dramatically over time. Getting just 1% better daily can lead to becoming nearly 38 times better in a year, while getting 1% worse can nearly eliminate progress. This growth mindset emphasizes sustained trajectory over immediate position, valuing steady, incremental effort that accumulates into remarkable transformation. James recounts a traumatic baseball injury that forced him to start very small with physical recovery. The experience taught him the power of small wins and gradual progress. This difficult period shaped his understanding of habit formation and resilience, demonstrating how showing up consistently, even in tough seasons, leads to eventual mastery and achievement. Clear challenges listeners to examine their daily repetitions and reflect on what they are truly training for, whether positive skills or negative habits like distraction or fear. Every habit casts a vote toward a specific identity, so being intentional about what you reinforce daily is essential to becoming the person you want to be. Habits should not be rigid. They need to adapt with changing life circumstances. Clear highlights that many struggle because they try to force old habits into new seasons without adjustment. Recognizing the current priorities and phase of life allows for intentional shifts in habits, preventing self-judgment and supporting sustainable growth. Self-awareness questions help identify what is most important in the present season: money, family, creativity, or health, and align habits accordingly. Thinking about what an impartial observer, such as a hypothetical alien, would conclude about your real priorities based on your actions encourages honesty and clarity, which in turn fuels motivation. Since only a limited number of hours in a day is truly under our control, aiming for small, doable actions is practical. These manageable habits build momentum and positive feelings of progress. Celebrating tiny victories nurtures motivation and enables the formation of long-term, stable habits, far better than attempting overwhelming change. Clear debunks the myth that waiting for motivation to start is effective. Because motivation fluctuates naturally, habits must be scaled down to a level so easy that they can be done even when motivation is low. Starting small overcomes the friction barrier and initiates the positive feedback loop where progress generates motivation, not vice versa. Habits have activation energy, the initial effort required to start them. The higher the activation energy, such as doing 100 push-ups, the harder it is to begin. Reducing that to a smaller, achievable task, doing 10 push-ups, lowers the barrier and increases consistency. It's about choosing the minimal version that you can stick with and gradually building from there. Consistency is more important than intensity. Clear advocates for adjusting the scope of a habit without abandoning the schedule. Doing a smaller portion on a busy or low-energy day keeps the habit alive, preventing breaks and streaks that can easily turn into long setbacks. The key is showing up regularly over time. While goals give clarity and direction, systems, the daily habits that produce progress, are what actually determine outcomes. Many people share the same goals, but only those with effective systems reach them consistently. Systems lead to repeated wins, making long-term success sustainable rather than accidental. James provides examples of systems tailored to different goals. For saving money, a system could be transferring money into a vacation fund each time you avoid dining out, creating a positive association with restraint. For healthier eating, breaking down the process into manageable steps like meal prep, shopping, and cleaning dishes makes change feasible. For breaking bad habits, strategies include eliminating, reducing, or replacing the unwanted behavior. Self-control is less about willpower and more about reducing temptations by designing environments that make good habits easier and bad habits harder. Removing triggers, creating distance from distractions, and changing social surroundings influence the frequency and strength of habits by lowering the number of challenges faced daily. Surrounding yourself with people who embody the behaviors you want to adopt greatly increases your chances of success. Because belonging is a deep human need, aligning your social context with your identity reduces friction in maintaining habits. Finding or creating communities that normalize your desired habits turns change into a social and enjoyable process. Clear explains that habits operate in a loop, starting with a cue, which triggers a craving, leading to a response, the habit itself, and finishes with a reward. Understanding this model helps dissect why habits form and how to intervene at each stage. Making cues obvious, habits attractive and easy, and rewards satisfying increases the likelihood of repetition. Building on the habit loop, Clear introduces 4 laws to guide habit formation. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. These laws serve as practical levers to modify environment, motivation, and reward systems, making new habits easier to start and maintain over time. The hardest part of habit formation is starting, especially when facing discomfort or self-doubt. Clear encourages embracing that initial awkwardness as essential territory marking one's progress. Small actions taken regularly build momentum until the new behavior feels natural and home. A simple but powerful strategy for getting started with any habit is scaling it down to a version that takes 2 minutes or less. This removes resistance and increases the chance of showing up. For example, instead of committing to a 20-minute meditation, commit to just putting out your yoga mat or meditating for 1 minute. Habit stacking involves linking a new habit to an existing one, leveraging the automatic nature of established routines to trigger new behaviors. For example, meditating immediately after making morning coffee uses the existing habit as a cue, making it easier to build new routines through association. The deepest motivation for habits comes from identity transformation rather than chasing external results. Every habit is a vote for the person you want to become. Clear advises inverting the usual approach by starting with "who do I want to be?" and then choosing habits that reinforce that identity. This approach helps sustain long-term change by creating internal alignment. For big goals and projects, Clear suggests regularly reflecting to ensure effort aligns with priorities. Coupling this with a bias toward action, starting small, moving fast, and iterating, enables steady progress while avoiding wasted effort. This balance prevents burnout and increases effectiveness. Setbacks are inevitable, but what distinguishes successful people is how quickly they recover. Committing to never miss twice ensures mistakes remain blips rather than turning into derailments. Promptly returning to habits after failure sustains momentum and builds resilience. James Clear reminds listeners that every expert and successful person started imperfectly. Progress is built by consistently showing up and embracing small, daily efforts. Life's opportunities come in moments, And maximizing those moments through deliberate habits builds not only success, but a meaningful and fulfilling life.